What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. And thanks as always for watching. I really do appreciate it. Today we are checking out the new REVV D20 Joey Landreth edition. So I've recently demoed the D20 Mark II, which is the newest version of the original D20 head. The main differences were foot switchable boost, which was amazing. They added reverb to the amp, foot switchable, great. Bright switch, awesome. So that's what was going on with the Mark II. The Joey Landreth edition is based on the Mark II, but with some of Joey's voicings. Now, Joey is just an insanely good guitar player, crazy talented, as well as being an incredible singer-songwriter. If you don't know who Joey is, look him up. Back to how the amp was voiced for Joey. Joey plays a lot in drop C. So he wanted the amp to be a little bit tighter in the low end, maybe not quite so spread out. And then in the top end, it's actually a little bit more, toppy, a little bit brighter. And I don't know what specs specifically were changed as far as, circuit values and things like that, but there is a definitive difference between the two amps. The Landreth model, or Landreth edition, I should say, is definitely a little bit brighter, a little bit less low end. And from what I can perceive, it has a little bit more gain. Now, by that I mean it does the same pedal platform thing that the original D20 Mark II does. But as you start kind of dialing it out of pedal platform into more kind of, now I want the amp to kind of be a standalone, this amount of gain thing, if that makes sense. As you start turning the gain up, in my opinion, what I was hearing and feeling is it seems like it does have a little bit more perceived saturation or gain as you crank it up. And that might be because the mids are a little brighter, and the top end with the treble is a little bit more present, but we'll definitely get into that in the mix, as well as the voicings. Joey had his own aesthetic, which looks really nice, from the Tolex to the front screen, to the panel, to the knobs. It does look really, really cool. So what's on the front of this thing? You've got gain, treble, bass, mids, volume, and reverb. You have 3 switches. One is called a boost switch. We'll get into how that sounds. That adds gain. It's definitely foot switchable. Not only does it add gain, but it adds a little bit of lows and highs. Right next to that, you have a bright switch. Does what you think it does. It's a really, really nice addition. We'll listen to that as well. The switch next to that is a pre-post switch. That is for the onboard 2 notes, IR, and reactive load. I'm actually not going to be demoing that part of the amplifier. I want to stick to how this thing sounds on the mics. And with that in mind, I've got my Bogner 2x12 closeback with V30s in it, mic'd up with a Royer 57 microphone combination. That's how I want you guys to hear it. It sounds killer. But yeah, that pre-post switch is really for the software. You're basically telling the reactive load and software whether you want it to hear just the preamp or do you want it to hear the whole amp. In other words, the 6v6 power section, 20 watt amp, 6v6 power tubes, 12AX7 preamp tubes. To the right of that, you have a headphone out, 1/8 inch. Next to that is level. That's for the headphone out as well as the software out. As I mentioned, I won't be demoing it that way, but when you run direct out, XLR, that's also the level for the software. Right next to that is a 6-position rotary control that allows you to choose between 6 different factory cabinets that are all Rev cabinets. It's from like open back 1x12 all the way to closed back 4x12s and anywhere kind of in between with different mic combinations. It comes stock loaded that way, but you can do any IRs you want and assign them to those 6 different positions. Once again, I won't be demoing that, but that's what's going on with that. You got your standby on and off. On the back panel, you've got obviously your fuse, cabinet lighting for if you want to use a rev cab with this thing, you can light up the logo, which is really cool. Next to that is your MIDI in. This thing does see MIDI, which is really, really nice. You've got your bias test points, a little bit easier to change the tubes if you know how to bias. You have a USB out, that's for the editing software for the 2 notes stuff. You have a ground lift, just in case you're getting the old buzzy buzz, and I'm not talking about gummies. Next to that is that balanced output, that XLR output, and that's for running direct. Next to that is your foot switch input, which allows to choose between reverb and that boost. Next to that, you have your effects loop. It is a buffered effects loop that sounds great. Next to that, you have a switch that allows you to choose between 20 watts or 4 watts. And then next to that, you have your 8 ohm, 4 ohm for your cabinet. And then, of course, you've got your speaker out. And then you have a switch to the right of that that allows you to choose between the internal reactive load, if you're going to run direct, or the speaker, which is what we did. Yeah, so that's what's going on with this thing. Let's get to it. Let's check it out. All right, let's listen to some sounds from this device. Okay, random noises, turning things up and down, kind of giving you guys a little bit of an idea of the gain range. We'll go even more extreme with that. What I'm going to do is go ahead and center things out. I'm going to shut the boost and bright switches off. I'm going to center the EQ. We'll leave the master volume where it is right now, and we'll leave the verb up just a little bit. We'll go ahead and put the volume around center as well. And we'll just go from that beginning or start or whatever you want to call it. So right now, with everything centered, it's very pedal platform. I could turn up the gain. breaks up a little bit, so I'll back that off, thinking pedal platform. That's pretty darn clean. I normally dial pedal platform to break up a little bit, but just for perspective. Even with a back humbucker, that's still pretty clean. Treble-wise, the trouble with trebles, I say that all the time. It's just because it's stuck in my head. That was all the way off. It's like I'm digressing. Wait a second. All the way off. Here's about mid. Sounds nice. That's pretty kind of Fender, I guess, deluxe-y. We'll go a little hotter. Then all the way up. Pretty nice range. Obviously, keep in mind, if you want more of kind of an open top, more kind of chimey top, we'll leave the treble kind of where it is, and we'll just turn on the bright switch. Now you've got a way kind of more open top end. It does create a little bit of gain, but not enough to where you feel like you have to turn everything way down. So with that treble sweep and then also the switch, it's a really just broad spectrum of top end, because then you can even turn the treble down. Especially if you're going to still hit it with pedals, but you want it to be a little more toppy. You've got a lot of range. So that's what's going on with the treble. I'll go ahead and leave that on, and we'll go to the mids. Now the mids on this amp compared to the D20 Mark II, at least to my ears, I don't know for sure, but at least to my ears, they don't seem quite as low mid presence, if that makes sense. They're a little bit more kind of barky. So we'll do that again, all the way off. And with the guitar back on, mids all the way off. Mids about halfway. Mids all the way up. Yeah, they actually do create a little bit of gain, just like on the other amp, but they do seem to be brighter, which makes sense because this amp overall is going to be a little bit brighter than the Mark II. So that's what's going on with the mids. Here's the lows all the way off. Lows at halfway up. Starting to get pretty big, and then of course the lows all the way up. So it just depends on how you're using it. I mean, I like it about right there, but it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing like a back humbucker thing, I've got a little bit more room to run more lows. If you're playing more neck position, you might roll it off. But that's what's going on with the lows. We'll leave those about right there. That's obviously the master volume, or I should call it volume. This is gain. This is volume. I feel like the amp starts to really wake up. I mean, you can play this thing at whisper volumes and even knock it down to 4 watts. So I don't think you have to do that because the volume control does sound really good. The only reason you would want to is if you want more kind of power tube breakup, then you would maybe bump it down to 4 watts and then run it hotter. At around noon, it starts to wake up, but about right here is, to me, it's like the sweet spot where it's still pretty clean, but it's also really, I think, the most open sounding. If you go hotter than that, you're going to start breaking up the 6v6 power tubes, and they break up really nicely. And there's even more kind of top end. And then if we dime it, hopefully I won't, no, we're okay. We shut the verb off. So that's more kind of power amp breakup. We can go the other way and do more preamp breakup. So I'm on a back humbucker now, so I can hit it harder. So that's at like noon, and we haven't even engaged the boost switch to get more gain. You can turn it all the way up. I tend to, it just depends on what I'm doing. I tend to lean towards the preamp breakup with the power section just a little bit hotter. Just sounds more kind of basement-y to me. Whereas if you go the other way, it gets a little more, I guess, almost British, because you're making those 6v6s bark a bit more. As far as preamp gain goes, what you can also do is just add the boost. So that's real clean. So when you add that boost, it adds gain. It does still add a little bit of top end, but I mean, as a standalone amp, if I needed that type of tone, I'd have no problem getting that out of the amp. And I will say, in my opinion, it seems like the Landreth model, it has the same headroom, but if you do start cranking the preamp, I think because of the way it's voiced in the top end, it does have, at least what I'm perceiving, as a little bit more gain. I didn't find that I had to reach for like a boost pedal or anything. I did for one of the solos, but it was more for just kind of a tone that I wanted, but I didn't feel like I really needed that as much with this amp. I mean, that sounds really healthy. I'll go all the way up. We can turn bass down a little bit, maybe add some mids. So that's what's going on with the boost switch and the amount of gain you can get out of this amp. I'll go ahead and dial it back to maybe kind of more clean pedal platform. I still have that bright switch on. We can check out REVV. That's where I kept it the whole time. Noon. All the way up. So just at the very end there, I'm just kind of dialing it the way I might dial it. Probably a little less verb, but that is the Joey Landreth edition D20. Definitely go to the website if you got any other questions. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see yous on the next one.